Well, hey there all. Cashmagnet Guru coming at you, doing a little live stream. I kind of wanted to do this live because I got a special treat for y'all. I'm going to wait a little bit here and jabber a little bit before I get started. Hopefully everybody's having a great Friday and enjoying the end of their work week. So for me, my work weeks just never end. So I generally end up working on the weekends as well. So what I'm going to go over today is I sent Cashmagnet an interview request, a little written one. And I was hoping that they were going to respond. And they did. But before I delve right into that, let me say it looks like the earnings are finally back to where they were a week ago. This is with about a half an hour to go in the Cashmagnet day, since we're on Ukrainian time. So I'm back to 22 on my main account and almost 6.5 on my other one. I didn't bring up my third one because it'll probably be close to $1. So that's definitely a great thing. Back up to big earnings. Woohoo! The last week I was definitely off at least a quarter of my earnings. So might as well get into this real quick. What I did to kind of make this easier was I just simply I copied and pasted their email that they sent back. And what you'll see is my questions are bolded and bigger, and then their answers are below. So, okay. Well, my first question is when did Cashmagnet start up? Were you involved with other apps before it? Kind of curious on getting a little background on them. The project started around 2 years ago, had its ups and downs, as we all know. It was a small team of 4 developers that had a general idea about the industry, passive income, and etc. Just one of us was pretty much into it. Knew that there are not a lot of quality apps, which, that's the truth in this field, and who persuaded others to make the projects. Still, at the very start, we had a very vague idea of how everything works. There were many mistakes made that set us back in time. I think, they're still kind of making those mistakes. But the project slowly goes ahead, and we believe it is still has a great potential. Now you got to remember one big thing with these guys is all you see is a black screen? Oops, my bad. How about now? Are we onto a real screen now? Let me check. Sorry about that. Okay. Now we're back off that black screen. Sorry about that. I'm still a new to YouTube noob, as all you guys clearly know. Thanks a lot, Ray. Appreciate it. So, okay, back to my earnings. There's my earnings real quick. Blah, 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 636 and 2202. All right. So now you can see that. Okay. So back to the meat of the episode here. In fact, the app reached the break even point only by January 2019. That's kind of surprising that it really took them that long. All the time it was before it was a loss making the first year. As it turned out, we were paying users actually more than we were receiving from the advertisers. Plus, due to some problems with advertisers that pulled out and didn't pay, we accumulated debts before users that were, and still, quite a burden. That's one thing I definitely respect about Cashmagnet is they always paid out. This all was an enormous experience. We learned our lessons, and at the start of the spring, we are finally making some profit. This will allow slowly to pay all the debts, to shorten the payment, waiting time for users. Of course, not all that easy. It is a positional warfare between us and advertisers. With a lot of that, I've only been with Cashmagnet since July, and there's been users. I'm not exactly sure when Cashmagnet actually rolled out, but we've definitely seen the app change over time. And for them to kind of man up, which they discuss, further in this little interview about that. But how many other businesses, might have said, screw you, and we're not going to pay you because we didn't get paid. So not going to beat a dead horse. I think they have really come a long way since last July. I know their earnings are, maybe sometimes their earnings aren't as good as they might have been. Like December. December was awesome. I made $100 on 4 phones in December. It was phenomenal. But I don't expect to always make that. They are in the Ukraine, and you will see some of the spelling and some of the grammar. I don't know how many of you speak Ukraine, but he speaks a whole hell of a lot better English than I do Ukrainian. So, how many people work for Cashmagnet? Can you tell me a bit about each one and their role with the company? I was looking for more of like, here's what this guy does, here's what this guy does, here's what this guy does, and so forth. And, so 4 developers, probably not enough for the scaling of the project like that. So apart from pure technical tasks, there is a lot of work related with user support, advertising, financial settlements, etc. They have a number of advertisers, which I do get. I was just kind of wondering who each person was and what their kind of breakdown was. And yeah, Street Rage, if you're thinking about getting into this, man, hop in. Water's warm. I was disappointed they didn't answer this one. How many active users do you have on Cashmagnet? Are most in the U.S.? I'm going to assume that most are in the U.S. And I was curious about seeing the breakdown. But I guess they didn't want to answer that or couldn't. Probably just didn't want to. People having quit Cashmagnet in the past due to slow payments. Can you explain the situation that led up to this happening? Now, everybody understands what happened here. And I've mentioned it a few times. As we mentioned above, the app was loss-making. When it started to grow, we just could not cope with rising payments to users and smaller payments from advertisers. plus net 60/90 terms, and I'm not real sure what that means. I guess it has something to do with the payments, that it might take 60 or 90 days for them to pay. Means that we make advance payments from users from our pockets, and we literally could not afford that. Plus, the story with the rooted phones that were banned by advertisers seriously set us back in terms of cash flow. It took us back 6 months in time, plus generated thousands of dollars financial obligations before users. So they were still paying the users. We had an option not to pay users as well, or to keep obligations but pay slower. We decided that the second way is more right, although did realize that there still would be a lot of unsatisfied and criticism about the longer payments. You know, they were kind of in a catch-22, and I absolutely think that they made the right choice. You know, they could have just screwed over everybody for 2-3 months and not paid, and then started paying them right away. A lot of people didn't think Cashmagnet was going to survive this last fall, and they did. And a lot of people quit, and I guarantee you, a lot of people are going to be flocking back again. Are you hoping to pay out earnings faster? If so, when? If nothing unexpected happens in June, people will notice faster payments. This should be shortened to 2.5 months. By the end of July, we would hope to return to 1 month wait. Now, I've already seen this. I've seen this firsthand for myself, and I shared that with people on Facebook, I believe yesterday or the day before, and I received my April PayPal, or my early April PayPal, I should say, through the 10th of April. I got my PayPal from then. I'm still actually waiting on a February and March, one February Amazon gift card and all my March Amazon gift cards. But I was perfectly happy taking my $200 that I got on PayPal that I got from PayPal in early April. So I'm going to suspect that the Amazon gift card should come out next week. That would be my assumption. And no, you cannot use rooted phones on Cashmagnet. That's a big no-no. So I mean, I had rooted phones that I bought my Aristo 2s completely to run Cashmagnet, Ray. And I'm really glad that I did buy those Aristo 2s. They're awesome. So, okay. Like I said, I do expect payments to, continue to get better. In a perfect scenario, how will future payments look? If I cash out on August 1st and August 25th, when would those payments arrive? Ideally, payments for calendar period should be paid out within first week of the next month. In your example from 1 to 7 of September, I'm a little confused by that. But we might consider net 30 payments basis when payments will be coming at the end of September, 30 days after the end of the calendar period. The latter is what we strive to achieve in the very near future, hopefully by August. Now, what they're kind of saying there is, and I should have worded this differently, because Cashmagnet runs from around the 10th of one month to the 10th of another month. So, so with that is, so it goes from the 10th of one month to the 10th of the next month, and it looked, from my understanding of this, and it's not really quite clear, is these August payments would be paid at the end of September, which I have no problem with the payment situation as it is now. I really don't. In the past week, a couple of accounts were hacked. What is being done or has been done to fix the issue? Can Cashmagnet users do something to try and protect themselves? There were several such cases, indeed. This was related with some vulnerabilities of the website. They used brutal pass access scan, and I'm not exactly sure what that means. We have added some extra security measures, so this should not happen anymore. There is nothing needed from the users. Funny thing, the best security measures in that case was long periods of payouts when the hacker had to wait for 3 months to get the payouts from other user accounts. What better security than this could be from stealing? So their slow payouts prevented them from actually getting ripped off. So if they would have been paying out that same day, those people that were actually breaking into people's accounts and draining it to cryptocurrencies, the money wasn't paid right away. So, that's kind of a funny thing with that. The other thing that I'm going to absolutely suggest is you use LastPass. I harp on all my friends about this. LastPass is phenomenal. It's going to, what it'll do is it will automatically fill out forms. So what I do is I have a bunch of my credit cards here. Now all that has my credit card info. Bam. I just one click it and it goes. If you sign up for a website, you can have it generate a secure password. Mine are all, at least 16 to 20 characters, long. And I want to avoid ambiguous characters. Ones that you can't tell between a 0 or an O. Okay, so I won't harp on that too much, but that is one good thing. That's awesome, Digital Farmer, man. I'm glad to see other people use it. Some of these other questions I'll come back to though, but man, LastPass, I can't harp enough about that. I mean, when you have 16 characters and you don't have to remember them because it does, and I have it on my smartphone too. I have all my banking information on my phone. To get into LastPass on my phone, you need my thumb. If I'm without my thumb, I probably don't really care about my cards. From reports, Android, Oreo, and Pi do not work very well with Cashmagnet. Is a fix for these devices coming soon? No answer. I was frustrated by that because that is, besides the slow payments, that is probably, it might be the number one complaint of people. Now, I personally don't understand why people are trying to put Oreo and Pi phones on. I mean, I would think that Oreo phones would be fairly expensive compared to what I buy. So no answer to that. We'll see. There are two main bugs that hurt Cashmagnet earnings: the zero bug and the rollback bug. Can you tell us if these bugs are being worked on and if you think there will be a solution for them in the near future? Oh, here we go. We know about these bugs and are working on them. Most likely the bugs are related to each other, which I absolutely agree. We are testing on our phones and seems to have solved the problem. At least we don't have this happen anymore. Of course, we have not tested on all types of phones, but the problem is solvable and updates should be coming shortly, 1 to 2 weeks, and the crowd goes wild. Woo! You know, anybody's less thrilled than me on this. I mean, I am very excited to see the next beta rollout and to see these bugs fixed. I don't so much mind the rollback bug where my level 7 phones roll back to level 2. But what drives me, because they still earn. I mean, yeah, they're a pain, but they still earn. And I don't run the ADB on them. You know, you don't need to. You just clear the data and restart Cashmagnet and you're back up to level 7. The zero bug, on the other hand, you know, we've all seen that. It's dead in the water. It's laying there, belly exposed, legs up in the air, dead. And it's not earning, so it sucks. So hopefully, you know, we know their time frames, you know, when they say 1 to 2 weeks, you know, it could be a month, but at least, you know, something's coming down the pipeline and they've been working on it. So if the bugs are unable to be solved, are you looking at a different solution to work around them? And no response on that. So I guess since they're, you know, say that they got something in the works. Now, I know they don't test on a lot of phones, which I was kind of surprised by that. I would definitely like to see them, you know, testing on, you know, 30, 40, 50 phones, but, you know, I get it. Is a lack of advertisers or the lack of users holding Cashmagnet back? Obviously, yes. Cashmagnet is some kind of middleman between advertisers and the audience users. If either side experiences negative growth, it surely affects. I would have liked to see like a better answer there, and maybe I wasn't clear enough on mine. You know, do they need more advertisers or do they need more users right now to make Cashmagnet even more profitable and stable? Do you see Cashmagnet being around in 6 months, a year, 5 years? In 6 months' time, this should be a stable, reliable app with quick payouts, loyal user base, and good track record. There are some ideas to use the mechanics behind Cashmagnet in some other projects that we believe have a great potential. These are ideas only at the very early stage, so we won't elaborate on that at the moment. So they do have, I don't know if they still have it or not, they have a lock screen app, and I've never used it. I'm not a big lock screen app fan. So, you know, I don't use stuff like that. But I know they have it. So, hey, Roshan, how you doing? Good seeing you. So it'll be interesting to see if Cashmagnet actually comes out with some new apps. You know, how will those apps be? You know, will it be like Cashmagnet or will it be, you know, something completely different? Does the Cashmagnet team have any big changes coming in the near future? Are there plans to come out with more apps? As mentioned in the paragraph above, there are some interesting ideas in the pipeline. There are definitely more apps coming in a year's time. Now that's interesting, you know, that they're actually talking about coming out with new apps maybe in a year. You know, will they be kind of like perk apps? Will they be something else? Will they be like the old Lotto? what I was kind of fishing for, and I should have probably broke it down a little more, was right now level 8 doesn't work because of they've taken it off due to the backlash over the fully automated RIDD phones. There was always something like I can't remember what it was called on the phone, something 42, and I don't remember what that was. And you clicked on it and it said, coming soon or something like that. So I didn't know if there was more plans to expand Cashmagnet and add to it. I know they have like offer walls and so forth. I don't use that kind of stuff though. What would you say to try to convince someone who is not currently using Cashmagnet to use the app? We do realize that before we could manage a quicker payout, it would be hard to agitate for the use of the app. I'm not sure what he's saying there. But when payments will start coming regularly, the word will spread, no doubt. Our belief is that the best advertisers is when users themselves recommend the app. So our major task is just to keep them happy. And that's, I think a lot of the users are frustrated by the bugs. But I think probably the vast majority have been frustrated by the payments. So, if they're really, basically I looked at they're one month behind, me just getting or 2 months behind, me just getting that start of April payments, the full March 10th to April 10th payments. And, and just getting them the first part of June was great. So two months, I look at it the same way as my credit cards. If my statement balance if it ended April 10th, I wouldn't be paying it until June anyway, and not accruing any interest. So that was it. That was just kind of a little short and sweet little just some simple questions. I do hope to do a video interview with them at some point. So yeah, and that's Big B69 Ti. That's something that I talked about earlier. That was one of the questions that I asked him was working on the Oreo, and Oreo and Pi are bugged. They're really working on other things before they're getting these new generation phones up and going, which I totally understand. The people running Oreo and Pi are absolutely in the very small percentage of the majority. Would I even expect 5% of phones to be on Oreo? I don't think so. I don't really think there would even be 5 out of 100 phones, running Oreo or Pi. When I bought my Aristo 2s and started trying to ramp them up, what I ran into was, and I didn't realize this, I thought I had shut off all the auto updates on it. And the Aristo 2s, they come as a nougat phone. Well, what happened was all of a sudden they all updated to Oreo. And of course, Oreo is broken. And this was a number of months ago. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know when they're going to fix, the Oreo for Cashmagnet. So what I actually did was I went to the XDA forums, that's a huge phone developer group. And I actually found a guy who ran a tutorial on it. And I posted a video sometime back about rolling back your phones if they don't come stock Oreo or stock you know, as long as they're not Oreo, and you might be able to do it with your Oreo phones, but boy, I wouldn't suggest it is rolling it back. You know, yeah. So hey, Soda, how you doing, brother? I sent you a message on Facebook with my YouTube newbiness earlier. Just killing some time, man. Just going over my little interview I had with Cashmagnet, or with the devs, and I'm gonna guess the answers probably came from Igor. I'm not sure how to say it. He's the CEO. But you know, if you do have Oreo phones, you know, I absolutely suggest go to XDA developer forums. You know, it's great. So all I did was I downloaded the little program and did some stuff. I did it the very long way, and because I didn't follow his easy step-by-step instructions on how to roll my phones back. But once I rolled my phones back, I just shut off the auto updates, and I've never had any issues ever since. So look at old Soda. If none of you guys are familiar with Soda Free Entertainment Tech, great guy, puts up a great quality videos over there. Yeah. Fun guy, very smart. He also has a second channel up and going, which I haven't watched a whole lot of it, Soda. I hate to tell you, I just haven't done it yet. I'm not big into photography, but I will check some of it out. Which phones would you say is the best for this? You know, I'm gonna show you. I will do this right now. I will take you over to eBay, and I was actually on here earlier because I have a phone that hates me. I really do. I have a phone that absolutely hates me right now. So I'm actually in the market for a new phone. Now these are the Aristo 2s. Now the Aristo 2 has like there's like two versions. There's the Aristo 2, and then there's the Aristo 2 Plus. I'm only looking for the Aristo 2. Hey, Soda, anytime, man, anytime. You know, it's good phone farmers, you know, YouTubers like Soda and Tech Hustler, you know, that really make this enjoyable, you know. And, you know, those guys are great. You know, reach out to them, ask them questions as well. They're always around, you know, ready to answer questions. So, okay, so here's these Aristo 2s. And I tend to stay away from guys that aren't some of the bigger guys. You know, here's one of the bigger guys right here. Now this is an Aristo 2. I can just tell by the 210 MA on it, just like all my rest. I'm not familiar with these the seller, but you know. Great positive feedback. A lot of users or buyers from them. Now you're going to see here. This doesn't actually say. Okay, let's see. Here we go. The full description. Okay, so when I'm looking for a phone is I want 2 gigabytes of RAM at least. I find that very important. 16 gigs of storage space, absolute necessity. No way you can go with 8. You can't do it. Now, 32 would probably be great, but it's not necessary. You just got to strip all the bloatware from your phone. Yeah, I agree with Soda. I have three Aristo ones, and I'm mad. And one of those is one of my Aristo ones I'm currently mad at because it's just not working well. Quad core. This doesn't say on here, I don't think, but it is a 1.4 gigahertz. It doesn't say. It's a 1.4 gigahertz processor. I'll tell you what, this is a phenomenal phone. Yep. I you don't want to buy new. You're going to spend too much money. Street Rage. Let's see. New Aristo 2. Okay, let's. This is the plus. This is the newer version. That's $150. I mean, that is the newer version. But I never buy new phones. No way. That's a big no. That's where you spend, for me at least. One of my buddies on Facebook that he's been in it for a while, and he's got a pretty big operation, and he buys a lot of new phones. But when you're looking on here, boy, you got to be careful. Be careful. Don't buy Google locked phones. That's a huge no. Google locked, you're going nowhere with it. I don't know if there's a way around Google locked. Yeah, the rate of investment, and you're right. It's tough on new phones when you're having to spend, you're getting 50 cents a day or so on a new phone, and for $25 it's going to take you about $45 or 45 days or so to make it back. This is actually a surprisingly very nice phone. I might actually just buy this right now. And I'm not seeing what he's what they're really saying. I guess the screen has light scratches or obvious deep scratches, dense corners, dings, and other signs of heavy wear. I have a phone that's, I have a few phones that have broken screens, cracked screens. I have seen other people that have, like, their screens are almost absolutely completely shattered, and they use them. Now, when I'm looking for a phone, the three buttons at the bottom there, I can't do it. But the three buttons at the bottom, they cannot be missing. So you can't be missing chunks. I don't see any big issue with this phone at all. I really don't. If I knew I wasn't going to expose my credit card here. Oh, whoops, that's $40. I don't want to spend $40 yet on a phone. My bad there. Didn't I sort that by price? I did. That's annoying. Why would they throw a $40 phone when I'm looking at $20 phones? Oh, because it just jumps up big time. Okay. Yeah, honestly, that's the type of phone I would buy, though. I know most of you probably don't want to spend $40 on a phone. And if they were actually cheaper, yeah, I would probably be all over that. Now, this is, I looked at this earlier, actually. This is that the plus one. Now, it says 4 parts. Well, you see why it's 4 parts. I mean, you can't use that for Cashmagnet. You just can't do it. You need those buttons at the bottom. These phones, they're not from the big sellers. Oh, actually, Street Rage. If you go and find Tech Hustler's YouTube site, he actually did a video where he put a something that shows his farm of how much electricity he uses. and it was nothing. It was nothing. Let's see, this phone. That's not a bad seller rating. I'm guessing just probably one review just dinged them down. 36. I might actually take a shot at that one. It's got the cracked screen, but it's really not that bad. That isn't that big of a deal at all for a cracked screen. I don't remember what he said, and yeah, it does depend on your cost of electricity. But I want to say it was costing him. I don't notice that much of, I don't notice that much of an increase on mine. If my electricity kind of really jumps all around, and that's because of how much time I spend on my PC or if I'm glued in front of my 65-inch TV. So does right here. I watched the thing on 60 Minutes where a bunch of the really huge Bitcoin miners, not guys with like 4 of them. I mean, they were putting up warehouses in Washington because of all the cheap electricity from the dams up there. So and I do have on my little Amazon wish list to buy one of those meters. Yeah, I mean you're really not going to pay much for electricity, so I wouldn't worry about it. Uh, for you that don't use Swagbucks, right there, that's why I use Swagbucks is to get that 1% cash back, and that's on top of my credit card. So the problem with the Aristo 2 is actually finding one. You know, I'm sure these sellers are probably just fine. I really do. For $23, I might take a shot at it. But I mean, you see the prices on here. This is nuts. I mean, you're paying $24 for a phone that's missing chunks out of it. I mean, not just a cracked screen, but chunks are gone. I mean, that just shows the prices on eBay sucks. The other phones that I bought, and I don't recommend these anymore, is the Galaxy S7s. They get too hot. They're just too hot, and they don't work any better than my Aristo 2s. And you got to buy them with these big damn lines in the middle of them, that actually does make it hard to read. And I have what do I have? I have 8 of these, and I'm gonna almost say I bought it from. Yeah, I actually bought it from these guys too, Wireless Depot. They sent me a bunch of cheap Chinese chargers with them, and they were terrible. Like half the chargers didn't even work. I mean, I don't use the chargers, but I just plug them all into my UB USB port. And one thing I'm going to tell you, when you do look at phones, and for the smaller farmers, it's not a big deal, but for the bigger ones like myself and some of the guys, that I'm trying to help out build a big Cashmagnet farm is you need 5 gigahertz phones. You can't. It's too rough on your setup with 30 or 40 2.4 gigahertz phones. It just bogs down your 2.4 gigahertz band so bad, and I have it when I'm updating my phones. With all those updates that just came out last week. I really had a tough time. It took me forever because of it. Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part with expanding into Cashmagnet. Really, is finding phones that will work. Now, see, I'm okay with ruining my phones. Running Cashmagnet on those S7s. They were just kind of like test phones. If they make it a year, I would be shocked. I mean, they are. You feel the back of them, and they are very, very hot. The I would imagine I'll start getting into battery bloat at some point with them, and my guess part of it might be because of the line, the actual line on the screen it's brighter, so I'm wondering if that runs more juice because of that. You know, where I don't know for sure. I'm definitely not a Android phone expert. Xiaomi. I'm not familiar with those. Um, as long as they kind of fit the specs, you know, um, you definitely want over. I think my Majesty Pros, I believe, are 1.1 gigahertz on the for the processor. I think they're 2 gigahertz RAM. But the Majesty Pros that I have are the 16 gigabyte version. I think there was some confusion that they were actually the 8 gigahertz version, and they're not. They're the 16s. I do have a couple of the 8 gigahertz that I accidentally bought off of eBay after I got banned by all those that sells all the cheap phones. You buy too many phones and they ban you from them. But I paid $10 for my Majesty Pros, and those things are actually awesome for Cashmagnet just because they cost me $10. So hopefully that kind of the other thing with the Aristo 2s is they have a removable battery. So if you do start getting bloat on them, you can take them out, as opposed to these, the S7s or even the Majesty Pros. Okay, show me. Okay, I will have to remember that. The whole X pronunciation thing is above my head. Yeah, I've had no problems with my ZTE Majesty Pros. Yeah, Soda. I was actually gonna have my friend buy them, and then I decided, it wasn't worth the hassle, and which 2020 hindsight, it absolutely was worth the hassle with those Majesty Pros, last summer when they were running $10 each. Geez, if I had it all over again, I would have found out a way to buy 100 of them. You might be able to run those Aristos without batteries. You would probably, XDA developer forum. That'd probably be the first place to start. I know people do hardwire them. Um, I just I don't have that kind of technical knowledge. That's way above my pay grade. You know, Rolling it back from Oreo to nougat, yeah, that's kind of in my wheelhouse. Playing with electronics and soldering guns, nope, nope, that's out of my wheelhouse right there. That's above my pay grade. So, all right, well, I need to probably end this. and let you all get to some supper. I need to think about mowing my yard before my neighbor growls at me. Plus, I got I used some of my Cashmagnet money that I had not got yet, and I bought myself a smoker last week, and I have a whole bunch of chicken breasts. Thanks, Soda, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Street Rage, hey, thank you. And I appreciate everybody who stopped in and listened to me prattle on for, God, how long? Way too long, right? So I'll probably throw up another video in the next couple of days. I'm kind of churning out videos a little more. So, Digital Farmer, hey, buddy, thank you. All right. You all have a great weekend. And this has been Cashmagnet Guru. Thank you very much for listening, and I will catch you soon.